All right, what's up, Dynasty Fantasy Gods? This is Daniel Norgard. I am here with my boys. We are the Fantasy Gods. This is our first episode, so bear with us. We're here live. It's Monday, and we just want to be here to talk to you about our Patreon page. We welcome you to the Patreon page. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We do really appreciate your time. Just know that we are here to help you with any sports and particularly fantasy football needs, questions, trades, anything like that. We want to provide that content. So welcome. This is the first episode. So thank you so much for, again, being here. We appreciate it. I want to introduce all of the Fantasy Gods here today. P, go ahead and start, man.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy P. I've been running the game for about 17 years plus, 15, 17 years, something like that. Got a lot of knowledge here when it comes to drafting, draft strategies, what you go pre-draft, but most importantly during the season, right? Different trades that you can make, how to analyze players, selling high, buying low, all of the above. So we're here to help you with that and help you dominate your leagues, man.
What's up, everybody? This is Isaiah Clay. I'm just going to jump into it. I've been playing fantasy for about 15 plus years, championship in multiple platforms, multiple leagues. More importantly, I feel like I pride myself in finding the diamonds in the rough. Hey, why is it stuck on P?
Man, you know how this thing go, man.
Come on, man.
I was like, I keep looking at P.
I'm handsome, man. What you want me to say, man?
Man, I'm going to get off
bringing
of both P and Clay. We're going to put this shit back on J-Head. What's up, guys? Your boy, Justin Henry. And I'm the fantasy guru, man. What can I say? I win all the leagues. I cash all the time, man. Any sport, you name it. But we talking football. So Dynasty, football trades. I'm a little unconventional. These guys, a lot of them, they stick to the media scripts. But me, I come in clean with my own opinion. And, man, we all have a lot of fun, man. I'm glad we got to do this, get this thing on the road, man. And I'm excited for not just us and this platform that we got, but I'm excited because I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of all of our difference of opinions. Somewhere, whoever's watching right now, you're going to think like me. There's somebody else who's going to think like Clay. Nobody's going to think like Dan. Somebody else might trade like P. But here it is. You know what I'm saying? And this is a good group that we got together, and thankful that we're able to do this. Let's get this thing on the road, man.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves to the chat. Exactly. There's a lot of people that's not going to think like me for sure. And you think like me, you probably gonna win a few here. Probably gonna lose a lot there. But you know what? That's what it's all about, is difference of opinions. We are here to help you once again. Anything that you guys need, we're here to be on the chats. If you guys subscribe to our higher tiers, we're going to be here for you individually, coach you through your leagues, coach you through your trades, anything that you guys need. Also, just let us know if any topics you want us to talk about, any trades you want us to address, anything like that. We would be more than happy to help you guys. Just please reach out. If there's anything that we could do for you, just let us know and we'll do that. What I'd like to get into for the first one is we are talking about Dynasty for the most part. We love Dynasty. We've been playing Dynasty for a long time. Dynasty is something that we cherish. We love talking about rookies coming up. We love talking about older players and their values. So just let us know exactly what you need for Dynasty. What we want to get into is our top players at each position. So P, give me your top five for the quarterbacks, man, for Dynasty purposes only. Give me your top five, and then we'll break it down with the rest of the crew.
All right. Top
That's
five.
on the spot, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going off the top of the head right now. We ain't been doing too much research, but I mean, it's all here. It's all ingrained. So top five, my top five Dynasty.
Well, who's in the pot? We should talk about who's in the pot first. That way we get all these names out, because to be honest, episode one, I don't got me, I ain't got the list ready right now.
Yeah.
Who's even in the convo right now?
You already know Mahomes is number one, Allen, and you got to have Lamar. That has to be your top three dynasty. I don't care what order, but those are the top three dudes off top. That's just off the top of my head.
Disagree.
How?
I know that's off the top of your head. Who'd you say? You said Pat. You said who?
Pat,
Josh
Josh
Allen.
Allen, and Lamar.
I don't agree with Josh. I don't agree with Lamar.
Ooh.
You know, Lamar is cool. I think
MVP winner.
2 years ago, last year, he a little shaky, baby. You know, if they had gotten Julio, maybe, right?
Okay,
If they had gotten Julio, maybe.
Give me somebody ahead of Lamar right now, dynasty wise.
Dynasty right now, who I would take over Lamar, give me Kyler Murray. Right? Give me Kyler Murray. Young.
Little ass Kyler.
Little Kyler, right? You know what I'm saying? He's running like this everywhere.
Yo,
On the court, you know, he going like this. And I know Lamar can run too, right? He got them design runs. But
Kyler's nice, bro. Don't get me wrong. I like Kyler, but Lamar is different, bro. Lamar is just going to give you that aspect. He could stay in the pocket and throw it. Not that Kyler can't. But Lamar is just different, bro. He's a different animal. I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
But
I'm
how
not mad
though?
At Kyler.
But how though? Outside of just saying he's different, how is he different?
I feel like Lamar is a little bit more accurate. I feel like if he had the receivers that Kyler had, he might have the success too. But
yeah, if it
that's
was a
the
fifth,
part.
man.
That's
If
the
it
part
was a
right
fifth,
there. When you
if
talk about
it was a
supporting
fifth, we'd all
cast,
be drunk.
Hey, you got to talk about supporting cast when you talk about these quarterbacks because elite skill wise, they all do very similar things. You know what I'm saying?
Very
You got Lamar, Kyler. They're going to both be running majority of the time, have decent passing games at the time. But when you talk about Arizona's passing receivers, man, like to me, when you got the best receiver in football, D-Hop, you got AJ Green, you got some of the pass targets there. For me, I think it's a no-brainer.
I think, and I'm going to
Kyler
say this.
over Lamar.
Yeah,
And I'm a Lamar guy.
I'm a Lamar guy too. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you guys to get it confused or anything like that. But you got to think, like, you have one that's in a predominantly run system, and yeah, he does run, right? But then you got Kyler, who's in that system where they're just go, and they're only getting better, right? Like, this is second year. We've seen what he did in his second year. What was he, like a top 3 quarterback in his second year, putting up godly numbers? Had he not gotten hurt, probably would have been the number 1 quarterback, right? He was majority of the year. Had he had not, yeah, he was hurt.
Josh Allen killed that dude off top, numbers wise, everywhere.
J.A.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Dan over there taking him number 1, right?
I can't hate.
No, for sure. No, of course. Why wouldn't you not? Josh Allen is an elite person for quarterback, the position, man. It's changing the game. You know, Pat Mahomes is great. He's awesome, man. But you got to look for the elite rushing upside, elite rushing touchdowns. The Konami code, man, it's insane. Kyler is up there for me as well. I think he's an incredible quarterback. However, you know, the size it worries me to a point, man. I don't know if he can continue to take the hits, continue to take the punishment from where these bigger quarterbacks like the Mahomes and like the Allens, even the Justin Herberts, man, huge guys that can withstand it's good. Now it's a 17 game season, right? So it's even more another game where it's like, well, okay, like, let's see what's going on. I would say, like, I'm higher on Lamar for sure. I like Lamar. He doesn't have the supporting cast as these other guys, which that's really what scares me the most about Lamar. I think Herbert's supporting cast is better. I think
Herbert.
I think Kyler's supporting cast is better. So you have to factor these in. I also, to be honest with you, I actually like Russell Wilson in my top 5, just based on the supporting cast right now.
Dynasty?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, because you have to really understand that based on the age, you know, Aaron Rodgers, these guys, they're still putting up elite numbers. And you have to factor in that, you know, this goes back to our conversation earlier about D-Hop and a Justin Jefferson, in a sense that, look, are these guys going to be producing elite numbers? Like, this guy may not produce elite numbers based on the age, whereas D-Hop may still be producing elite numbers, may not even get there, like stuff like that. So for me, I like to know that hey, Russell's an elite quarterback. You know what you're getting out of him, and he's still relatively young.
I can give you two other names, though. Two other names I think we got to throw in the hat that were top 5 quarterbacks locked last year. 2 top 5 quarterbacks that we haven't even talked about yet. Number 1, coming off a major injury, Dak Prescott. I think we got to talk about him. And number 2, the one who likes to get felt up a little bit, likes to get a little bit of lotion on him, you know what I'm saying? And some spots he probably shouldn't be. Deshaun Watson, man, with no supporting cast. What do you do with these guys? What do you do with these guys? Because you think about it, Deshaun's still really young. So situations change, things change. Are you just giving up on Deshaun Watson because of what's going on in the offseason? Or is he still a top 5 Dynasty QB? That's a question I think we got to answer.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't say Deshaun Watson didn't have a supporting cast, because last year, his guys, other than, obviously Fuller gets hurt every year, he was putting up great numbers, WR1 numbers, got hurt, got suspended, end of his year. Brandon Cook.
I'm talking now.
Well, now, I mean, and that's why I have Lamar over Kyler, is because I think at the end of the day, skill is going to oversee these names, because at the end of the day, Watson is going to get his numbers no matter who's on the field, no matter who he throws the ball to. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to be an elite quarterback. And so, Watson, if he plays this year, I mean, he could be a top 5 quarterback, but
yeah, I just don't see how we could put him in the top 5. We don't even know if he's gonna play.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to get him out of the top 5.
We're talking dynasty, man. Dynasty, because situations change so much. So when you got an elite entity like that, Deshaun Watson is a top 5. If everything is clean, everything goes well, he's a top 5 player no matter who the supporting cast is. So why are we going to downgrade that? I think that's the panic part that people do. Panic P. I think that's the panic part that people do, is they look at individual situations and think short term instead of long term, right? And we talk about difference in philosophies. For me, I'm looking at, okay, dynasty is an asset. We're talking 10 years down the line, Deshaun Watson's still going to be an NFL quarterback, still going to be putting up numbers. Are you going to give up on that and calling that a top 5 value pick, a top 5 asset, just because of what's going on right now, a little turmoil?
Definitely.
I think this is a good buy low time for Deshaun Watson. If you don't have him on your team, this is a player you go, hey, how's that owner feeling? Is he looking at him as a low-end QB1, high-end QB2? And now you're asking for value. You're saying, all right, Deshaun, or, what's the tag on? Can I throw you a second-round pick in the future? Can I throw you a lower-end player that I'm trying to get rid of? I think it's all about buying high or buying low, selling high. And Deshaun Watson to me is a buy low.
Yeah, you do buy high sometimes, though. But if we're talking about talent, you can't deny Deshaun Watson's talent. But if you're asking me to rate these guys right now for the future moving forward, I mean, there's no way logically you can put Deshaun Watson in the top 5.
Okay, what happens if the Texans trade him? What then?
Now he can still get suspended. No, he can still get suspended by the league. Maybe. If these allegations come through, he can still get suspended.
Maybe
so
not.
He doesn't get suspended. He goes to Miami now. Where is he?
I mean, we're talking ifs and stuff. We're talking hypotheticals.
You're talking hypotheticals this year. You don't even know if he's suspended this year. That's a hypothetical. He could play all 17.
He got how many women call him out right now?
Bro.
He got like 20-something girls like, yo, what's up? My drink was fizzing. What's going on?
All right. Hold on. Look, we're getting off top. We're going crazy. Hey, look. Here's the thing. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 talent. We know this. This show is to help you win money. And if we are picking him in the top 5, that has to be. We have to know for certain that he is coming back eventually. If we get 6 games of suspension, okay, then we know that this man is here. But really, in reality, we're not taking him in the top 5. No. Period. We can rank him in the top 5. We can rank it. No, we're not taking him in the top 5 because we want to win.
I think we want to win. The asset.
You don't need to take the risk. You don't need to take the risk. You don't need to take the risk while we're building an incredible dynasty team. So my thing is understand value, and the value is he is a top 5 talent. So we know that in most leagues, their owners are going to be panicking. You're going to see his ADP decline, and that's when you can start jumping out. Here's the thing: are you taking in Dynasty? Would you take right now today? Would you take Herbert or Watson?
Herbert.
Watson.
Herbert.
Watson, bro.
All, Herbert
Watson.
all day.
Watson.
Herbert all day.
It's not even
Easy.
It's not even close to me.
Justin
Go ahead.
Herbert. Justin Herbert has his 1 year, and I'll give him. He had a great 1 year. It was great, but we've seen Watson with nobody be super elite. This isn't just a fluke. I mean, I'm gonna gamble on talent. If I'm gonna gamble on something, it's talent. I'm gonna take the best player available at that ADP. So if it's Herbert or Watson, it's a no-brainer to me. It's a no. That's no. I mean, like, you're talking about a 1 year guy. You know who else had a good 1 year? Baker Mayfield.
He had a good year too.
But he was supposed to be super elite. He was supposed to be the next. He was supposed to have next, right?
Okay.
Y'all hear that?
So are we taking?
Hold on. Y'all hear that?
Go ahead.
You guys hear that? That sounds like the
that.
fax machine. Clay spitting facts right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me,
Not fair.
hey, for me, Deshaun, bro. Like, you got to think his upside is so untapped right now. Like, we know he's locked in top 5 if he plays. So he gets traded or he gets cleared this year. Like, you're losing out on an asset that you know already. Like, you hope Justin Herbert becomes what Deshaun Watson is as a quarterback. Locked in top 5 QB. That's what you're hoping Justin Herbert becomes. And if Deshaun Watson goes to a different situation, you might have a QB2, QB1 in there, straight up.
So your guys' point here really is like getting him at his value, right?
100%.
So you're gonna draft him right now, top 5 overall, knowing. So that's what we're talking about.
Top 5 QB.
Top 5 quarterback.
Okay, top 5 quarterback. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Top 5 quarterback. You guys are gonna draft him as a top 5 quarterback right now. You're drafting him at his absolute peak right now when you don't know, right?
Okay. You don't know. Hey, you just said it. Think about this. If Justin Herbert ended up being Kirk Cousins, would you be surprised?
Yes.
Why?
Because Kirk Cousins got a noodle arm, bro.
Kirk Cousins is a great fantasy quarterback. I mean, he's top 12,
not, bro.
Top 12, top 15 at worst.
Here's the thing. With quarterbacks, you want the upside. You want the upside for a 40-point game. You want the upside with the rushing. And when you're talking top 5 QBs and then you get to 5 and 10, they're going to all start to be a little similar. When you have elite quarterbacks who could put up 40 or 35 on any given basis, like Deshaun Watson has proven that he can do that. Herbert, yeah, he might have that upside, but he hasn't shown like, I can go win you a week. And when you're talking top 5 QB at a position that's pretty deep, quarterback's a deep position unless you've got the top guys. And if Deshaun Watson is clicking on all cylinders or has the right team around him, he is that elite outlier type guy. I think you got to take the upside when you're looking in that 5 to 10 range. I don't see it's a no-brainer to me to take the upside.
And again, my whole point is this: like, nobody's denying he's a top 5 talent.
But that's what you're drafting for.
Okay, but right now his value is extremely. It's in the gutter right now.
It's volatile. It's volatile.
It's volatile. That's a better word.
Yeah. So you're not taking a volatile player right now at top 5 of his position. I understand if you get him maybe at the 10, 12 range, then that's an absolute win. It has potential to be an absolute win for you. But you're going to pass up on a lot of youngsters in a dynasty league, mind you. Yeah. And you got to take into consideration what the Chargers have done to support this kid, Herbert, right? I know it seems like we're talking about just Herbert and whatnot. There's a lot of other people here, but they've built that O-line. They got studs on that O-line. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have no type of O-line last year, and he was still cutting it up.
Yep.
But here's the thing. One last thought, Dan, before you change the topics. One last thought is if you're drafting right now and you're considering, hey, you're like, hey, I'm in a dynasty league. I'm listening to these guys. I'm not sure. If you have a high risk tolerance and you're like, you know what, in the second round or the next time I take a quarterback, whether it's at 12 or it's at 15, I'm going to take a guy with upside. I'm going to take a Trey Lance this year. I'm going to try to take a Trevor Lawrence. Maybe you're getting somebody who's a little bit safer back there. You're like, hey, I'm going to take a Matt Stafford. I'm going to take another quarterback that I know can get me at least some points. I think it's worth the risk. And I think what you guys are saying is that with your top 5, if he's a top 5 QB, you want to eliminate the risk. I personally feel like when you have a top 5 pick, you want the upside. The upside is the play more so than making sure you don't take the bad pick. That's my final thoughts on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great point, guys. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be based on risk tolerance for you and your team. Understand that we all of us have different risk tolerances, and that's why we're here to help you. The Fantasy Gods are here to help you win your leagues. And so with that being said, for me, the final thought on Deshaun Watson, it really just comes down to, are you okay with him never playing again? That is the biggest thing when you make the selection. Are you okay with him never playing again? Because that is where the volatility comes in for his stock at this point. All right, let's move on, guys. This is a great topic. We can get back to it. Let's start off with the running backs. Give me your top 5 off the top of your head. I know we didn't come prepared as much, but give me your top 5 off the top head, your running backs, starting with Clay.
Okay. Damn, in order. Man, this is always split hairs for me, but I gotta put my dude Christian McCaffrey at the top, man. He just does everything. He's an elite pass catcher. He can run between the tackles. He's hard to get down. He can bust for big plays. He just does everything. He just does everything well. I know this is unpopular, but I personally like Kamara next over Saquon. That's just me. I know people cry about it, but I like Alvin.
Man, who gave him the mic, man?
Stop. Alvin's that dude, bro. Hey,
Alvin number 2.
Alvin is the most consistent running back in the pass catching section probably since in years. I don't know anybody who's been more consistent. 80 catches a year. McCaffrey doesn't have that every year. He didn't have it last year.
How's Drew Brees looking this year?
Ooh. Anyways, I'm just saying, Drew Brees hasn't played a full season in 3 years, and he's still gotten his numbers.
Alvin is Drew Brees' #1 receiver, though.
Hey, it don't matter. But Drew Brees hasn't been healthy in the last 2 years, so let's keep it a buck.
What happens in our games when Drew Brees doesn't play? What happens when Drew Brees doesn't play?
He still balls. I believe Alvin Kamara got 6 touchdowns without Drew Brees.
Oh, that little inflation game. Okay.
Hey,
man. Hey, he got a couple people.
All right, let's move it. Keep it going.
All right, I like Saquon next coming in. He's now we talk about risk, and you're talking about a guy with elite talent, but he does come with some injury risk. He hasn't been 100% the last 2 years. So, but in terms of talent, you've got to put him in the top 3. I know that. I got Dalvin next. I know this could be a bit of concern for a lot of people because he's been a top 3 running back for the last couple of years, but Dalvin's next, pass catching, big yardage guy. And then I guess if we're talking about PPR, and I hate to say this, dude, but Derrick Henry, man, he's just a friggin' monster at 5. Even though he gets no catches, he just tears it up on the ground. The dude can go for 200 in any game. He's big, he's strong. They give it to him on the goal line. They give it to him 30 yards out, 20 yards out. It doesn't matter. He could bust for big plays. That rounds my top 5.
Yeah, the running back position, man, it's one of those positions where you got to have the upside. The same thing we talked about with quarterbacks. You want to make sure that the upside is there. And when you're talking about like a McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley or even a Kamara, you're getting the catches as the baseline. That gives you the floor. Yeah. And the concern I have this year for Tennessee is that they're going to have some other weapons there now that Julio's there. So I think that they're not going to try to run Derrick Henry as hard. But you're thinking dynasty. So you're like, all right, who's going to be a mix of right now? You have to also think with the running back position, the longevity is only 5 years. So we're in the middle of a Derrick Henry prime. We're in the middle of a Dalvin Cook prime. We're probably in the middle of even a Saquon, Alvin Kamara prime. When you start talking about the running backs, I think you got to start looking at who has the upside. And I know Dan's probably over here smiling, knowing who I'm about to drop right now. But I think JT's entering that back 5 right now, man. When you're talking dynasty, I like the upside. They got Wentz there now. Not the same receiving targets that are there. I think JT is entering that back 5, man. I would take him over Derrick Henry dynasty-wise.
That's true.
Yeah,
I forget we're talking about dynasty.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So my man Zeke's getting no love, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm
Man.
just thinking about that, and I'm not saying, it's funny because it's a little different when you're talking running backs and a top five, because it's so like it can be so fluid. Like there's always like one or two of them in there, and then the last three are made up of different names. It seems like almost every year, right?
Yeah.
So, but strictly dynasty wise, I mean, I think you do have to go McCaffrey at one. And I mean, the catches are there. Everybody says that he can, carry the load and stuff, but last year we seen him get hurt, so that does raise a little bit of concerns because he is a
Yep.
small guy, right? This is the first year that we really seen him get hurt. How is he going to bounce back from that? Saquon has a lot of talent. But he's been hurt, but he just seems like he's a hog, and
He's number one.
yeah,
He's number one.
I think I do like what they're doing because they're getting a lot of receivers. So they're not going to be able to stack the box over there. So I do like his upside there. So I think that's going to be the 1 and 2 for me. I do. I mean, you can't. It's hard to go against Dalvin right at that 3 spot. I know that he has some injury history, but when he plays, man, he's just that. He's a league winner, right? He's one of those guys that are going to get you more times than not 20 plus points, 25, even 30 plus points sometimes. So my top 3: McCaffrey, Barkley, Dalvin. I do like Jonathan Taylor. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be out of my top 5. So I'm going to throw in Zeke in there, right? He's not getting a lot of love. The kid's still 25, elite offense, right? He's going to be catching the rock a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think that it's a great point that you guys all made. I guess it depends. For me, it just depends on the makeup of your team and when you start the draft, where these players land. With Kamara, Zeke, even a Derrick Henry, I think at that point when you get those assets, the assets that are teetering on, maybe they might fall off. More of like a short-term asset. I think then you got to adjust your strategy for the years that you're coming up, because Zeke, I think, is going to be a great asset this year. He's had some weight issues. He's had some conditioning problems. So although he's an elite talent and although he's an elite squad, he may fall off quicker than most running backs in our top 7. But he's an elite fantasy asset. He's going to be an RB1. He's going to have about 10 plus touchdowns, maybe even 15 based on the offense. So it just, I think for me, it just depends on what running backs fall, who do you select, and then adjust your team based on the running backs. For me in Dynasty, I just let these dudes roll, because at the end of the day in Dynasty, it's a long process. You're going to be playing Dynasty for over 10 plus years. Running backs run in and they run out. And so those are the assets that, unfortunately, for me, I like to draft running backs, I like to trade for running backs and draft for need. So, or draft for talent. So trade for need, draft for talent, is kind of my strategy. But my top 5.
Let's hear the top 5. Yeah, let's get.
Yeah, my top 5 is still Saquon at number 1. I think people are sleeping on this man. This man is an elite asset. He is an elite athlete. He could do it all. He can catch the ball. He can run you over. He can run by you, jump over you. Doesn't matter. Saquon Barkley is my number 1. At number 2, I'm still going to roll with McCaffrey. I just think that his elite catching ability matched with the offense, and in that division, they can put up some serious points, because their defenses in all those divisions are really suspect. Even the Bucks, I mean, they have a good defense to win the Super Bowl. I'm just not sure how well they are against the run. My number 3 is Jonathan Taylor. I love his age. I love his offensive line. I love his offensive line. He is an elite prospect coming out of college. He had it all. There is no other prospect that was even close to him when it comes to the yards, the touchdowns, the percentages, the dominator. He did it all, and he has everything that you want to look for. He's an elite pass catcher as far as efficiency, and he will be just fine behind that offensive line. My number 4 guy is Alvin Kamara. I think that Kamara's floor is very, very high, probably one of the highest that there is, and I think he's just an elite talent. And then my number 5 is still Dalvin Cook, very electric when he's on the field. When he is healthy, he is a league winner, like P said, league winner. So those are my top 5.
Facts.
Oh, Saquon up there, number 1. McCaffrey, number 2, I can get with. But Jonathan Taylor at number 3, that's pretty high. I like the upside, though. I really do like the upside with the age because I think that he's going to get the production. He's going to get the volume, which is what you want. Obviously, you want the volume at the running back position, and the injury risk is something you want to mitigate as well when it comes to running backs who have been injured before or maybe have an injury history like a Dalvin Cook. It's tough to kind of navigate through that. What about some other names? I want to throw some other names out there at you guys and see what you guys think. What about like Nick Chubb? Where are we ranking Nick Chubb? Is he like in the conversation for your top 5? Is he back in RB1? Because with the way that the Cleveland Browns run the football, that's a name to me that's really intriguing, especially when you're considering a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, who has lost a lot of that offensive line that made him the running back that he was. I think that we don't talk enough about that. When you have a strong offensive line, kind of makes the running back sometimes. And I think that might have been the case with the Zeke and why we saw a big fall off last year.
Well, and here's the thing, and I'll just speak to that Zeke moment. But, when you lose an elite quarterback and, they have to stop an offensive weapon, they're going to stack the box against Zeke. And the offensive line for sure was a problem. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at Zeke's numbers, he's improved. He's improved or stayed the same in about every area, but he's always improved on catches. So like his pass catching has gone up every year. And so with that being said, and I was gonna say this to Dan, was like, when do you sell on Zeke? When do you say, hey, I'm willing to give him up, or I'm willing to sell him at the highest price? And when would you get it? Do you get it in the off season? Do you get it the first week of the season? Those are the kind of things, those are the kind of decisions as a manager that kind of will separate you from winning maybe in 2 years, or winning now, or maybe holding on to a depreciating asset and never getting close to the goal. So
this guy, Zeke, I think if you're going to sell, like, what would you be looking for in return for Zeke? Right? That's what you got to think about. And then you also got to think about, is he really a depreciating asset or not? Because you hit it on the nose. Zeke, when you lose Dak, can you, how many quarterbacks started for them last year? You can name Andy Dalton. Who are the other 2? You don't know. I don't know. Right? No. Some bums, right?
Bums.
So that's what I'm saying. You got bums. You're leaving everybody else in single coverage. You're putting 8, 9 in the box. You may blitz a corner. The guy, what can Zeke do? But when you did see Dak in there, another thing that's hurting Zeke's value is their lack of a defense. But that just opens up a lot more catching opportunities for Zeke, right? So you're going to get the volume there. He's in an elite offense. They're going to the rest of his division is pretty much trash. They're going to be ahead in more games than not. I don't want to go I don't want to go that far, but
don't go that far. The Cowboys, let's just face it, the Cowboys aren't a very good team on paper. They have some nice offensive weapons for sure. Don't get me wrong, but you also have to think Washington won that division last year with a worse squad. With a worse squad than they have now. Their squad is better now than it was last year. Correct? Can we agree on that? Can we agree Washington won that division and now their team is better?
Yes.
But with running backs, though, guys, like, I think that's the one, when you're talking to, obviously we have people watching and we're trying to help their teams out. One of the things when it comes to Dynasty is recognizing, like, when is the sell high? And you can't always time the sell high. You can't be like, okay, I think Zeke is going to have a good year this year, and then I'm going to sell him. Sometimes you have to give up the potential of a good year to lock in the value. Sometimes you have to do that. And I think Zeke is the type of player where you almost have to sell him right now because we don't know what he's going to look like next year. Like, he really did struggle towards the end of last year. And if this offense isn't, I mean, running backs have it's a very finite career. Around 26, 27, they all start falling off. That's just the nature of the running back position. And if you're holding on to Zeke like, I still think he has it. I still think he has another year. That could be the year that costs you. That could be the difference between getting him for the high value that he has and getting him for the least value possible next year, because nobody's going to want to touch him. We're talking about Joe Mixon, who was one of the league leaders in rushing last year, nowhere to be found. Todd Gurley was in the same type of class that Zeke was in. Completely gone. The value's completely gone now. So Kareem Hunt, same thing.
Le'Veon Bell can't find a team.
Le'Veon Bell. So I think when you're looking at the running back position, you could probably get more out of him this year. He might have a resurgent year, but why not trade him? Trade him for the max value that you can right now for RB1 value while it's locked in and secured it.
And that's a question too. Is he RB1 and who's buying him at that price? Are there buyers at RB1?
There's definitely going to be a lot of buyers. There's definitely going to be a lot of buyers. But my question is, what are you looking to get in return? Like, what are you expecting to get in return? Like, realistically,
it depends on your team.
You got to get upside in the position of need. So example trade for Zeke is, if you're looking, you're like, okay, this guy has Zeke as an RB1. Why aren't you fishing for an elite receiver, a wide receiver one, a back end wide receiver one, if you can get it? If the value for Zeke is top 5 to top 7 running back, RB1, you're looking for a back end wide receiver and a running back with upside. Go get one of the young guys. Go get a Travis Etienne. Go get a Najee Davenport. Go get a Clyde if you like Clyde. I'm not a big Clyde fan, but if you like Clyde, go get Clyde. Go get a Dobbins. Go get a Swift along with that receiver. Give yourself some upside along with the receiver, but pair that out. Give yourself some upside and collect the asset. Get a good receiver along with that, or get a draft pick if you're looking for draft picks.
It's hard to make those sells though when you talk about young upside running backs, because people put a lot of stock in those guys, like your Dobbins. Dobbins is a top 5 pick. And, you're talking about
DeAndre Swift,
DeAndre Swift, Etienne. I mean, these are the guys that you're talking about. They're not going to give them up. A Zeke for Etienne and back in like a Keenan Allen. You're not getting that. You're not getting that in most leagues, and people aren't going to give that up.
There will be somebody, I think, that'll give that.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think so. 100%.
Now, in my opinion, if I were to trade a Zeke, that it would have to be specific upside players that I'd be looking for. Like, we're looking at a Cam Akers and something. We're looking at a Najee Harris and something. Right.
I said Najee Davenport.
Yeah, I was like, "Dad, come on, son."
You know what I meant.
You're looking, like, I'm high on Najee Harris. I'm high on Cam Akers. So if I could get Najee Harris and maybe like a back end wide receiver one, me,
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, yeah, or
Odell Beckham.
I don't know if I trust Odell Beckham, but if you could get something like that, it would have to be players that you're extremely high on for upside, right? Like if you could get, Allen Robinson or Scary Terry, maybe, right?
To me, I think the perfect time to make a Zeke deal is after the first big game of the season, and to just sell high at that point, because it's hard to do off-season trades, because people always think their team is good enough until they get punched in the mouth, until a player gets hurt, until a receiver gets hurt. So like, I don't have any, my running backs aren't what I thought they would be. I thought they would be at this level, but my running backs are really, or I only have one running back and I need another one, but I have 6 receivers and I can't start all of them. So now what do I do? So people, a lot of times, and what I've seen in leagues that I'm in personally, is that people won't make moves to improve their team in the offseason, and a lot of people need to see the proof. Like, I need to make sure that he's still who he is, and then I'll pay for him. But by then, right now you can sell for the ultra max as opposed to, okay, off-season max. Oh, well, this is the year he falls off. People are thinking that way all the time. So I feel, and this is just my personal thought, I feel like for a lot of people, for a lot of the buyers in Dynasty, is they have to see that one good game to be like, okay, Zeke's back. Zeke's back, and he can win me this league this year. I'll pay for him. I'll pay this year to win the league.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing you got to look at is the schedule coming up. And if you're going to
schedule, how important is schedule to you for Dynasty, or are you just talking about specifically for Zeke's value?
I'm just talking about specifically for just trading Zeke for Zeke's value right now.
Gotcha.
Right? Because I mean, he's going to open up right now against one of the top leagues rushing defense, so that's going to be a little scary, right? He's playing in Bucks. After that, he gets the Chargers, which he could probably have a big game. But when you're looking at trading somebody like that, the last thing you want to do is put it on like an open chat saying, "Hey, this person's available," right? You don't want to put it out there like that.
Why not? A bidding war could start.
It can potentially, right? But with somebody with somebody like Zeke specifically, some people may be thinking, you know, a bidding war could potentially start, or you can get a lot of people knocking down his value. And then you're just like, well, hell, you know, so
I'll just keep him. Then keep him. And so when I look at things like that, when people try to knock down a value of a player that you have, if you put it as an open market competitive bid, say, hey, this person's available. And then if they hit your sideline, you know they're real. The people who are going to hit the group line and throw some trash out there, they're not really serious about getting that player. So for me, it's just like, or you could just be a man and send an inbox offer and see where that goes. Because a lot of times people don't know players are available. People will just be like, assume, because some people, they got diamond hands, you know, I'm going to hold on to this player to the end of the world. But if you make them realistically available, then people are like, oh, I have a chance to get this dude. Let me see what that looks like. I can actually imagine myself paying for that player, as opposed to like, I'm never like, this is, you know, don't fall in love with these cats. Like you said, the running back position.
As this league goes, as this podcast, as this show goes on, I think that's something we should touch on too, is different techniques and different and being able to know, like, okay, what is a good way to propose a trade? What is a good way to let somebody know that a player is available, going into our different techniques, because we all do that differently as well.
It depends on the league, and timing is everything. You know that timing is everything with these players. News articles come out, O-line players get hurt, training camp injuries. I mean, everything matters when you're talking about a trade, because that's what people do. The first thing they do is when somebody sends you a trade, they go on the news and they say, okay, what happened to Zeke? What happened? Did Dak die? You know what I mean? That's what they're looking. They're looking for the most information. Why would you sell me this player? Why would you sell this player? And it's like, it just depends. And you're right. There are different strategies. People have different ways. Some people don't let you know players are available. They just inbox for the players that they want. And
some people don't look at the other teams. Yeah, like you said, they don't look at the other teams like needs. Like if you're a short in Dynasty, there's obviously different tiers of teams. There's teams who are looking to win this year and probably don't have a lot of young, assets. And then there's other teams who are building. They're building for 3 to 4 years from now. There's other teams who are building for 10 years from now for whatever reason. But there's the teams who have different strategies. So you got to know who you're trading with too. And a lot of times when you send a deal out in your head, you're like, man, this seems like a good deal that they should accept. When in fact, they're looking at their team like, you didn't do your homework on me. I don't need this shit. And so you have to be able to know like who you're dealing with. And when you send a deal, understand how it can benefit both teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Kick it back to Dan.
All right, guys.
We did get kind of off topic.
No, it's good. All right, guys. So we did the running backs, did the quarterbacks. Let's move on to receivers, man. Give me.
It's gonna be the longest intro episode ever, and I love it.
The best. Yeah. Why not? Let's do it quick. Let's do it quicker though. Give me one sleeper receiver this year that you guys are high on, that people need to start. And let's say outside of your top 30, give me an outside top 30 receiver that we like. Do some research. Get me going. Who you like? Top 30. I'll start it off. I actually like Darryl Mooney. Give me Darryl Mooney as a sleeper this year. You have Justin Fields coming into the game. You have Allen Robinson on the opposite end, and he is taking the targets, taking the attention away from Darryl Mooney. Darryl Mooney has elite yak potential as of last year. He was top, I believe he was top 10 in yards after the catch. Give me those Yak Gods. Give me them targets. Give me the upgrade with Fields. I like Daryl Mooney to have an extension into the top 30 this year, and he will be drafted outside the top probably 50 in receivers.
That's a deeper sleeper. Okay.
They were going really deep. I mean, this. I think it's a little. Man, that's tough. Go ahead, Pete.
I got
Go
one.
ahead, Pete.
Yeah. So, there are different things when I'm looking at like wide receivers, right? Especially young ones. I'm looking at like year 3 breakouts. I'm looking at buying low. So somebody that fits that, and it just happens to be from the squad, baby. You know what time it is. I'm talking about coming through on the bike. That's RIP. But give me Deebo Samuels. Yo, this kid, you're talking about Yak Dan. This kid that's the definition of it, right? Yak King right here. Not only is he catching a rock, but he's also running the rock. But anytime the rock is in his hand, this guy's a wide receiver playing like a running back. So he's running, he's hitting you in the chest. That whole Niners team was injured last year. Yes, they do got Brandon Ayuk. But at the same time, that depth behind them is really it's shaky, baby. So I'm all over Deebo.
Okay, I thought and that concerns me. I don't think Deebo's going to surprise anybody if he has a good year, because he's
outside
supposed
top
to
30
be.
though.
Yeah,
I mean, because he's been hurt most of the time. If he plays, I mean, based on his numbers, he's supposed to be like. I mean, he was drafted as such. I mean, he's a good player. I thought he was going to say Brandon Ayuk, honestly, because I feel like that's a player that could be outside the top 30 that could give you big upside. To me,
I like that pick. Deebo
Is he outside the top 30?
He's a forgotten asset. Like, people aren't. I don't think if you go into a draft right now, I'm not sure that Deebo is considered a top 30 wide receiver. I think that's hell of a value because with the quarterback change, it's probably going to be happening at some point this year. You got to think that upside is going to be even more tremendous. He was on pace to have a really good year last year, but then the injuries happened. So I don't think that there's a lot of people in the fantasy community, in the dynasty community, that are taking Deebo Samuel as a wide receiver 3, as a top 30 wide receiver right now. I think it's a good pick. And another one, I might have to start a little song. Go DJ Chark.
DJ Chark. Yeah, that was my
Chark. You already know DJ Chark to me. Has another. I think that is a huge upside play. Now, I know you can say maybe he was a wide receiver 3, but I still think he's probably going to be outside this top 30 based on the things that happened last year. When you pair him up with Trevor Lawrence, if the sky's the limit with Trevor Lawrence and he's supposedly the best quarterback this decade outside of Andrew Luck, I think DJ's going to have a big season.
Yeah. His coach is already calling him out, and he's responding well to it. Put on 7 pounds of muscle. Let's get it. I'm all for that. I love that.
What's he weigh? 193 now?
Whatever it is, man. He got it on him.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's move forward. Last thing. Let's do the top 2, 3 tight ends. Who you got? For me, it's still Kittle. That man is too good, too nice. He will be an elite asset moving forward in Dynasty. And with Trey Lance and with him, I don't see why he couldn't be the number 1 overall tight end for the next 3 years. Now, coming in at number 2 for me, Travis Kelce. He is just paired with Mahomes. I mean, the dude is a lock for 10 plus touchdowns. It's so hard to go against Travis Kelce. And still for me, number 3 is still Darren Waller. I'll take the guy that I've seen multiple time and time again just do elite things. The Raiders have no one on the outside to affect any targets or shares or touchdowns. Darren Waller will be that man again for the foreseeable season.
You talking redraft, I think you're right. But Kyle Pitts, if you don't have Kyle Pitts in your top 3 tight ends, you're crazy right now. I think there's no way you don't put Kyle Pitts in here. And I know the thing is, everybody wants to see the proven tight ends. Everybody wants to see the tight ends that have already done it because it's such a difficult position. We've seen the high draft picks come in there. O.J. Howard and not produce. T.J. Hawkinson's been okay. Like, he's been solid as a tight end 1. But Kyle Pitts is a different animal. When you got a tight end who's who's drafted just to be a receiver. Let's get that clear. Kyle Pitts was drafted to be a receiver, the highest drafted tight end ever. Atlanta is planning on using this guy, whether Matt Ryan's there, they draft another quarterback next year, or they sign another QB after Matt Ryan's time there is done. Kyle Pitts is a locked-in tight end, and with that, like, there's unlimited upside. He's going to be the number 2 receiver at least while Calvin Ridley's there, and who knows how they use him, but you got Megatron speed, Megatron height, Megatron jumping. To me, that sounds like a problem at the tight end position.
Kyle Pitts is going to be that dude.
Locked in top 3 dynasty.
Dynasty, I would say I would put Kyle Pitts at 3. I got Kittle at 2, and I go Kelsey at 1. Man, Kelsey
Dynasty.
Dynasty's like 32.
Kelsey's
like 32.
He's 31. He's 31.
In redraft,
you got 2 more years
on,
of Kelsey.
son.
You're gonna be fishing.
I'll take it. I'll take the 2 years of super elite Kelsey, he's elite, bro. He's
over 8 years. Over 8 years of Kyle Pitts.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if he has 8 years. Does he have 8 years?
He got a lot more than 8 years if he produces.
Does he have 8 years? Who's going to be better this year? Who's going to be better the year after?
In Dynasty, I don't care who's better this year. Give me the player with the upside. In Dynasty, you got to take chances. And yes, we don't know what Kyle Pitts is going to become. He could be the next OJ Howard. He could fall off. He could be like Vernon Davis and just be, have a couple tight end 1 years and really not be that big of a factor. He could be Gronk. We don't know. But when you talk in upside, there's a reason the Falcons drafted him that high. And it's not for his blocking. It's specifically for his receiving. And when you have the knowledge of that, it's almost like you have to be okay with, if he doesn't pan out, you have to be okay with that, to know that you probably will have at some point the number 1 tight end in the game, whether that's 5 years from now or not.
But
like,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
You don't know anything about any of these players.
No, we know what Travis Kelce's gonna do, right? We know what Waller's gonna do, right? We don't know what Pitts is gonna do.
Did we know what Darren Waller was gonna do 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, we did.
Doing what it was doing 2 years ago. Yeah, we did.
Did we know AB was gonna fall off a cliff? AB was a top receiver 2 years ago.
All right, we get into semantics, but I'm talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't want to get too far off. Now, I can't argue with Kyle Pitts at 3, just because the upside, like you're saying. Now, I do want to say this. You know who had a lot of similar upside as Kyle Pitts? Primarily receiver's body, receiver's build, drafted in the top 10, something like that. Evan Ingram. What happened to him? Nothing. All right, so the top 3.
Evan Ingram is still working through some things, and I think
we ain't got time for that shit though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you're right.
He's 26, right? George Kittle 20.
I
Same draft, 5th round. He's 26.
I don't think he's 26.
He's 26. Trust me.
He don't have the same pedigree that Kyle Pitts has though. Like
Kyle Pitts is 1 year, bro. He did it for 1 year. What are you talking about pedigree? He did this for 1 year.
I'm talking about being able to come in. What's Evan Ingram, 6'4"? You got Kyle Pitts, what, 6'6"? Running 4'4"? That's different. That's Not Evan Ingram.
Come on.
That's
like
different.
let's be real.
Evan Ingram has a Jordan Reed build.
That's neither here nor there, right? So give me
that is here.
Jordan Reed build. What does that mean?
That he's built just like Jordan Reed. What I'm saying is you're trying to basically say that Kyle Pitts is similar to Evan Ingram. And what I'm saying is this is
I'm saying athlete. The hype. I'm saying the hype came out.
I don't worry about the hype. You have to do your own due diligence. And as a dynasty player, you have to understand what you're really trying to do. So if your goal is, hey, I'm trying to build a team that's competitive for the next 2 to 3 years, then you just take the best player right now available, which is Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, the ones that we know are going to do numbers. But if you're like, hey, eventually I want to win this league for multiple years, even if it's in the short term, you have to be looking at a guy like Kyle Pitts because Waller is eventually going to fall off. I don't think Waller is going to be a top 5 tight end for the next 3 to 5 years. Kittle probably will be locked in there. Kelsey's going to have a year where he eventually falls off. All tight ends do.
Yeah.
The next logical person to put in there is Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, I mean it's a shallow position. So, I mean I don't hate the Kyle Pitts at number 3.
Yeah, I can't hate it. Yeah.
You can't hate that. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, I think Kyle Pitts does carry the downside. He does carry the downside. There has not been a tight end that has been drafted in the first round with as much hype, as much athletic ability and upside that has gone first year and has done something. Typically, tight ends take that 3 to 4 to 5 year breakout because it's an incredibly hard position. He has to block. He's going to have to block. That's what he did not do in college, and he's going to need to learn that type of stuff. And he's 20 years old. He's 20. I mean, even if okay, here's the thing. If he puts up 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, that's a success.
That is.
Yeah. That is a success for
and that's a success for the
prospect.
Position. That's a success for the position and as a professional, because tight ends, I mean, you got your top cream of the crop, and then you got everybody else. Tight end is, like you said, it's such a shallow position. Mm-hmm. And to talk about his draft position, he was the first tight end since 1960 to be drafted that high. So, I mean, when Justin talks about he's different, it's more of a it's more like when you say Jonathan Taylor's the highest rated prospect. It's the same aspect. It's that same outlook. You got Jonathan Taylor top 3 in the same breath. Why wouldn't you have Kyle Pitts in there? It's the same conversation. It's just in a different position, and even more so at a tight end position where there's only 4 or 5 elite ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with you. I would just say that, again, for running backs, running back position is very easier to transition from college to the pros. But the tight end position is very difficult. So let's move on, guys, to wrap it up. Give me your top 3 at the position for quarterback, running back, and receiver for the rookies this year, and we'll end the chat. So, P, who is your 1, 2, 3 at each position for rookies for Dynasty if you are in a rookie draft this year?
Okay, straight up rookie draft, top 3.
This is easy.
So who's your number 1 quarterback?
This is easy. P.
Number 1 quarterback. Yeah, that's
easy. Trey.
Yeah, Trey. I like you. You know what? You know what? This is going to be controversial. I would take Trey Lance. I would take. This is tough, man. I think I would take Trey Lance over Trevor Lawrence. I think so. I love Trey Lance's system that he's coming.
You're protecting the entity right now.
You're not,
but
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Trey Lance, he's got the build, he's got the mobility. I know that I know Trevor Lawrence does too. He's got the build, he's got the mobility. It really just comes down to this system. Now, I know that somebody like a Trevor Lawrence can be the system, right? I know that and I get that, but I mean, give me Trey Lance, bro. Give me Trey Lance with that offensive mind behind him. I love that upside. You can't take, I mean, just point blank period. Let's just give it right there.
Who's your running back?
At running back, I mean, it's Najee Harris, baby. He doesn't look like there's much competition right there. I like that offense he's going into. How are they going to stack 8 in the box? Give me Najee. Wide receiver. This is a good one. I mean, I feel like you do have to go Jamar Chase. I was leaning towards Devonta Smith because I do like the situation that he's in. But I mean, with all those pluses, you still got to go Jamar Chase.
All right, Clay.
I like Fields, man. In this quarterback position, I like Fields. I don't think they're good. Yeah, as a rookie, you said the rookie.
Over Trey Lance, right?
and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I like Fields. I like Fields better. And it's just a preference. I mean, they're all rookies. We're all at a clean slate right now. I like what Justin Fields is walking into. He's not necessarily a starter, so if he gets this position, he's going to earn it. You know what I mean? I think there's something to be said about players that have to take something as opposed, Trevor Lawrence is going to get handed the keys to the kingdom. You know what I mean? Immediately. And so he's going to have to just play up to that talent. Whereas Justin Fields, he's going to have to take it from somebody else that they paid. So for me, when you have a player like that, I think you have to have a lot of grit and heart. So
Cap. There's nobody in competition for that position in the Bears. Like both them motherfuckers is trash.
Andy Dalton got paid. Andy Dalton got paid.
You talking about Andy Dalton? Come on now, Andy
Dalton.
Dalton.
He's the starter, bro. You asked me to tell me who's the rookie I like the best at the quarterback position. I said Justin Fields. I think
you say it wrong.
Okay.
I always get all these cats mixed up, but it's Justin Fields. I like him. I think he's got a big arm. He's mobile.
Yeah.
He's focused, man. The guy's just, when he got drafted, he was just like, let's go to work. Like that was the first thing he said. He didn't care about all that other shit. Like he wants to work, and I see that. Not all of them. Trevor Lawrence proposed to his girlfriend. All these other cats would do. What did your boy do? What did your boy do in the bank? He got ice. This dude, the first thing he did was go to the jewelry store.
Yeah.
I don't want to see my rookies doing that. That's just me, but you know what I mean? So I got Fields there. Running back, I think Najee Harris, you hit it on the head.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that one.
I think the Steelers run a great running back program. I think they've always produced elite running backs. So that goes without being said. Man, receivers. This one's tough. I like Devontae Smith. I just don't like that he went to the Eagles. I don't know if I trust the quarterback. I'm gonna take the talent. I've always been a proponent of taking the talent. I think Devontae Smith is very talented, and I'm gonna take him over Jamar at this point, just because I know that Joe Burrow has a lot of targets. Not a lot of targets, but he's got other targets, and he still has an elite running back he throws to. So I'm going to take.
Boy, though, they went to school together.
I know.
They got it out the mud.
I know, bro. I know, but that offensive line in Cincy, he's doomed for another ACL tear on the other leg. So
that's what I'm saying, man. The QBs, man. I feel like if you had, I'm gonna go top three. I'm gonna go Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, and number three, I'm gonna go Mac Jones. When you look at Dynasty, I think you have to take into account everything situational. And I think with Justin Fields, the part that scares me is playing in Chicago. When you play in Chicago, obviously it comes with a lot of other territory. You got the weather you got to deal with. A lot of times those become ground and pound games with heavy defense, which the Bears have a great defense right now. So you got a lot of defense that comes in there. But the wind, the snow, the rain, all that comes in the Windy City. And to me, I try to stay away from Chicago quarterbacks. We saw Jay Cutler with one of the strongest arms that was in the league at the time, struggle to be a valid fantasy quarterback just in Chicago. And when you go to a graveyard like the Jets too, I know there's some people really high on Zach Wilson. I'm just not a fan of the Jets organization right now. And I don't think it's a great landing spot for him. And I think any quarterback that would have went to the Jets probably would have struggled for a while. So if I had to go top three, I'm going with those three: Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, obviously. But I think Mac Jones is going to have a good future there with Belichick in that offense, and Josh McDaniels probably will take over at some point. They're building right now. They're building a team around Cam Newton, but those assets are also going to work for Mac Jones. Running back, I feel like Najee Harris, clear cut. Nobody, I feel like if you say anything other than Najee Harris is your number one running back, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. He's going to be, that's exactly what they want there in Pittsburgh. Tough nose runner, going to get a lot of scores. And then at receiver, I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, man. I feel like he's the top dog in this. He's got his quarterback. They're going to force feed him, man. Even with T. Higgins there, they got Tyler Boyd still there. They're still going to force feed him. That's their guy. I'm going to rock with Jamar Chase.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for giving me your top three. For mine, for sure, is Trevor Lawrence, number one quarterback in the game. He's been the number one guy for a long time. I just don't see how he doesn't translate to the NFL. I think his floor is the highest of all the quarterbacks that we got. But again, he still has elite upside with his rushing. He has a cannon arm as well, and he's very talented. So it's hard for me to get rid of him. I know the Jags. Jags are horrible, or they've been horrible for a long time. But the culture is changing there. DJ Chark put on 7 pounds. I'm sure he'd be okay.
A whole
Tebow!
seven.
Another
Tebow.
a sleeper of mine is Laviska Shenault. I think he is. I think he can be the proven guy there. So we'll see how he develops in his second year. He was a monster down the stretch. So hopefully Lawrence gets good rapport with both him and Chark, and they lead their own division away. Number one running back for me, obviously, is Najee Harris. There is no other pick. This guy is the elite talent at the running back position. He is also in my top 10. For running backs in Dynasty. He is just that dude. He will be that guy moving forward. He could also lead the league in rushing this year. He has that upside based on the schedule, based on his team, based on everything. He can be that dude. With Ben in decline, he's going to have to lean hard and heavy on Najee Harris. For my receiver, it's going to be Jamar Chase. I think that Jamar Chase has the best position as far as upside when it comes to quarterback situation, everything. I think he has it all. However, I do not see him as an elite Calvin type, Julio, AJ Green type receiver. So I think this class is actually very weak at the wide receiver position, especially at the top. I think that you have to also factor in the fact that he did not play in the last year, which causes me to look into his character, looks into his mentals. Why are you not playing? If you are a professional, that's all you should be doing, is wanting to train and play and train. That is what Justin Fields did. That is what Trevor Lawrence did. These guys came back, they played through the virus, and they got through. Jamar Chase, he's very flashy. He's all over Instagram. He's all over this, that, and the other. So he has character concerns. However, having said that, he is going to be a great wide receiver, probably a low end wide receiver 1, probably in the range of wide receiver 2 throughout his entire career. So it'd be a good pick, good asset. If I were to match him up with the 2020 class, he would rank number 3 for me. It would be CeeDee Lamb. Still at the top for me, Justin Jefferson, number 2, and Jamar Chase, number 3. That is where I rank them if we were to put them in the 2020 class. I will say this.
Time out. You got CeeDee over Jefferson?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. Yes, he's too good. He will show you why he is ranked better than Jefferson this year. For sure. No cap. So anyway, that is one of my hot takes for the end of the segment. Look, guys, we really appreciate you guys here joining us. I know it was a long intro. If you guys stayed till the end, we really appreciate you. Remember, the Fantasy Gawds are just starting. This is the first episode. So again, we want to thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for submitting your pledges for us monthly. We will come back with some hot content, but this is the first one of many. So thank you guys very, very much. Anything final to say, guys?
Yeah. Last thing I want to leave you guys with on this first show, just I know Clay hit it. One thing, when you're drafting these players, when you're going through this draft, don't fall in love with nobody. Don't fall in love with these players. Keep an open mind and just have that mind frame that any one of these guys can go, any one of them.
Man, good point.
To go even further in that, especially in snake drafts, you got to be a little bit flexible. You can't just you got to have a strategy going in. But sometimes it's got to change. Your players could be taken higher than you thought. So you got to be able to build the team that you want, regardless of what happens. So, stick to your strategy, but also be able to, switch out. Hey, I need to get this player so I can fill out my roster. So, like I say, I think it's important to be, to look for the upside and to get the best talent and the best player available. And, we'll see how it goes in this year.
Yeah, those are good points. And I want to kind of touch on both of those. And I think fluidity is one of the biggest things in Dynasty and fantasy football in general, is being able to adjust and not really say, you know what, this is my take, I have to stick to it. I think, Nick Chubb's going to be a 2,000-yard rusher. You can think that and reevaluate in 2 weeks and say, hey, maybe he's not going to be that. Let me move him. Don't be tied to your takes, especially during this long offseason. When you have the offseason, take time to evaluate. But, if you get a good enough offer that changes your team from a win now team to a potential 3 to 5 year dynasty, take it, or vice versa. You might get the opportunity to win now. You know what? It might be time to capitalize on that. So take note of your risk, be fluid in your assessments, and always be willing to adjust because, just like fantasy football, it's one of the most, volatile sports. One day you could have the best team, and then over the course of a weekend, your team could be the bottom 5. So just make sure you're always looking at your team, adjusting, and being able to be fluid with your thoughts. Don't lock in on you absolutely have to be right about this, or you're right about this player, or you're right about this situation. Don't write off anybody too soon. Make sure you're fluid. Make sure you're able to take risks. And we got a lot more content coming for you. I'm excited. And I got to see Najee Harris, man. Najee Harris leads the league in rushing. Dan, I'm giving you all the kudos.
That's right. Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide. All right, man. You guys have a good one. We're out. Peace.
Hey.